Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video we're going to go over a basic blues turnaround. So I'm going to talk to you about what a turnaround is, what it's good for, and how to get started playing turnarounds in your blues progression. So the great thing about the blues and the challenge with the blues is the simplicity of the chord progression. So the genre of blues generally uses the 12-bar blues chord progression. There's a few variations and it repeats over and over throughout each song. And in almost all the songs, there's some version of the 12-bar blues. So the challenge is how to play that same progression over and over and make it exciting and engaging, and every time that 12 bars comes around again, that it feels fresh. So that's the function that a turnaround serves. At the end of the 12 bars, we can play these riffs that indicate this 12 bars is over and we're moving to the next 12 bars. So if you listen to a lot of the great blues players, on those last 4 bars, they play some version of the turnaround. So we're gonna go over the 12-bar structure, and I'm gonna show you where the turnaround starts and how to time it right and then get back into the next 12 bars. Before we get into the lesson, please go ahead and click subscribe so that you get all of the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. And if you wanna be notified of any new video, be sure to tap the bell. Just for simplicity, we're gonna play it in open position key of E, E blues, because then we get to use the open strings, and that makes it easy, but I also showed you in the intro that you could play this. You could play it up on the fretboard, you could play it in any key. So I'm gonna talk about that a little bit too, but right now, we're in the key of E. And if we wanted to play a really basic 12-bar blues, first 4 bars, we're just gonna play E7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was 4 bars, 4 counts of 4. Then the next 4 bars, we're gonna go to A7. That's the 4 chord. The E was the 1 chord, E, F, G, A. We're gonna go to A7 for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to E7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's where we get ready for the turnaround. So now we go to the 5 chord, E, F, G, A, B, 7 for 1 measure, so 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now down to the 4 chord, A7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have 2 chords left, the 1 and then back to the 5, and this is where the turnaround happens. We hit the 1 chord on the first beat of that measure, that second to last measure, 11th measure, and on the first beat, 1. Then on the second beat, we start this thing, 2, 3, 4. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, and let me just talk about what that is right there. This is the E7, the 1 chord. So is this. This is another voicing of E7 right there. So we have this one. So on beats 1 and 2, we're playing that E7, 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 and now we're gonna walk down to another voicing of E7. There's another E right there, right? So it's just a chromatic walk down. Chromatic just means step by step on the guitar, half step by half step, fret by fret. It creates a little tension. That's it. So here, no tension yet. Tension, tension, resolution. Okay? And then we do another chromatic walk up to the 5 chord, and that's the last measure, but we only get to it on the end of 2. If we have 4 beats in that last measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, we get to it on the upbeat of the second beat, because watch this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So then I fill out the rest of it with a little arpeggio on that B7 chord. And if you want to put the pinky on the B7, you could do something like that, but you can keep it simple. Or works, or even something like that. You give it different rhythms, but it's always this doo-doo-doo. That is the ba-da-da. We're about to go back to the beginning, and then now I'm just doing a shuffle there. But even. So the first thing you want to do is get the timing right. Be able to just get bum, 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 ba, 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 ba. Now as far as technique goes, I'm playing the 4th fret on the 1st string and the 3rd string, and I'm muting the middle string with my 2nd finger there. So you can't hear this middle one. You don't want that to ring out. You don't want this. That'll sound weird. So you want to just kind of angle your fingers a little to get that middle one muted. And with a pick, and then these are stacked up on the 4th fret, both fingers now on the 3rd fret, both fingers now on the 2nd fret. But then when we get to the E, 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and open high E string. And I'm muting that middle note again, but you don't have to on that one. But I like to, just to keep it a little more tight. And a lot of times what I like to do is use the pick on the lower note and my middle finger on the higher note, talking about pitch, lower in pitch, low, high, right? So it's kind of like a pinch, pick and finger. You could also do both finger, right? And that's going to give you a cleaner, tighter sound than doing, right? That's a little more kind of messy, and this is a little tighter. Okay, so once you get da 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 da, you could do da 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 da. And there I did a hammer on that 1st fret of the 3rd string. Cool, right? So you could even do this. It's like a super fast hammer on. It's called a trill. Now you could also do this. And that rhythm there is really, I'm just going da, 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 on the lower note, and then in between the da-das, I'm picking the higher note. I also like this one. It's a little, the rhythm's a little trickier. And I'm just delaying the high note a little bit. Instead of do da do, I'm doing do da do do da do do da do do da do do da do. Now another thing you can do is, really the chords here is this. So you could do these two, 2nd string and 3rd string, like this. It's just a little darker sound. Or you could do all 3 notes. Right? So that's the turnaround and open position. Now, let's look at it in a different key, because some of you might have an acoustic guitar and it's going to be really hard to play it up here. Let's look at it in the key of A. So let's reset our ears now. So here's my 1 chord, A7, my 4 chord, D7, my 5 chord, E7. Okay, now we're going to think just like we did here. From this root note A, just like we did from this root note E, we go up 4 frets to find that starting spot here. So it's up 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and then down here. But now when we get down to here, we've got to put our finger in place for this A chord right here on the 5th fret of the high E and 6th fret of the B. And if you want to do the hammer-on, you're going to have to bar these 3 notes and hammer on with your 2nd finger. So, or, and then from the root to get to the 5 chord, it's right under the A on the A string. We do that chromatic walk up. And then this chord, the 5 chord, looks like this. You can look at the tab there. A little more fancy. Now I'm going to play the whole chord progression again, but I'm going to show you how it's going to sound at a faster tempo. Alright everybody, I hope that lesson was helpful. If you want to learn more about playing the blues, there's 2 blues courses at guitartricks.com. So head over there, have fun with this stuff, experiment a little bit, make it your own. Happy playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.